So today we are going to look at statistics in research, mainly for people who are involved in market research or academic research. So what is statistics? So statistics include numerical figures and facts. For instance, the largest earthquake measured 9.2 on the Richter scale. Men are at least 10 times more likely than women to commit murder. 1 in 8 people is HIV positive. So you'll find that all these statements are quantifying, they are being quantified by a certain figure. So that is statistics. So in research, we have these are the research methods. Mainly there are two. We have the quantitative and the qualitative. So the quantitative involves numbers, while the qualitative involves analysis of the language being used. So this is the research process. How do you go about answering an interesting question? So following this research process, first there is initial observation, which is the research question. You come up with the general theory, you generate the hypothesis, you collect data to test your theory, then you analyze that data. So these here in blue, they're just showing you the processes which is associated with each stage there, right? So the initial stage, like we said previously, having a casual observation, you need to collect data to see whether this observation is true. To do this, you need to define or identify one or more variables. Take for instance, these are the examples, the pictures you're seeing here. They give you just an example of what a questionnaire will look like when you're testing the variables, right? So generating the theory here. So the next step is to obtain the data. Sorry about that. So theory, you're saying it's a supposition or a system of idea intended to explain something. From a theory, we make a prediction. So a prediction is a thing predicted or forecast based on our theory. A prediction from a theory is known as a hypothesis. So a hypothesis is just a proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as starting point for further investigation. So a hypothesis is a testable prediction, often promoted by a theory, to enable us to accept, reject, or revise the theory. So this is how we collect data. So data can be collected in various sources and various ways. So data collection is the process of gathering and measuring information on targeted variables in an established systematic fashion, which then enables one to answer relevant questions and evaluate outcomes. So the variables now here, in essential, you need to decide on two things: what to measure and how to measure. These two things will determine your variable. So a variable is the cause. A variable that is the cause is an independent variable, and a variable that is an effect is a dependent variable. So in other words, independent variable are the ones that impact dependent variable. So in correlation or cross-sectional research, we observed what naturally goes on in the world without directly interfering with it. So we'll be just observing. Keeping the above in mind, we prefer to use the term predictor and outcome variables. So the predictor variable, a variable thought to predict an outcome variable. This is basically another term for independent variable. Then outcome variable or the dependent variable is a variable thought to change as a function of changes in the predictor. This term could be synonymous with dependent variable. Take for instance what the picture that we are seeing here is saying, I'm not sure what methodology they use. World is best grade par. Right. So we have levels of measurements. variable can be split into categorical or continuous variable, and within these type there are different levels of measure. So when you're saying categorically, for instance, when we're measuring age can be, are you aged between 20 and 30, or between 30 and 40, or are you aged 21, are you aged 25? So when you are taking the exact number of the age, the value that represents the age, it's continuous. But when you are grouping in terms of 20 to 25, 25 to 30, it's now categorical. So in categorical, entries are divided into distinct group. We have binary variable. A binary variable is only having two categories, e.g. you are either dead or alive, you are either a male or a female. Nominal variable, there are more than two categories here, whether someone is an omnivore, a vegetarian, a vegan, or a fruitarian. Then we also have ordinary variable. So this ordinary variable still fall under category of variable. Is the same as nominal variable, but the categories have a logic order. So whether people got a fail, a pass, a merit, or a distinction in the exam. So that's an example of an ordinary. Then we look into continuous. So entities get a distinct score. So here we look at interval variable. Equal interval on the variable represented equal differences in the property being measured. So the difference between 6 and 8 is equivalent to the difference between 13 and 15. A ratio variable, here we're looking at this, is the same as interval, but the ratio of scores on the scale must also make sense. A score of 16 on the ancient score means that the person is in reality twice as ancient as someone scoring 8. So the continuous improve here shows a picture of someone trying to demonstrate a cylindrical object and also a square. So this one can move, it is at liberty to move continuous, but this one is not continuous. Now we have what is known as validity and reliability. One way to try to ensure that the measurement error is kept to a minimum is to determine properties of the measure that give us confidence that it is doing its job properly. The first property is validity, whether an instrument actually measures what it sets out to measure. The second is reliability, whether an instrument can be interpreted consistently across different solutions. We now analyze data. So the final stage of the research is to analyze the data you have collected. When the data are quantitative, this involves both looking at their data graphically to see what the general trend in the data are and fitting statistical method to the data. So when these two gentlemen here are arguing, while one is still listening to the argument and taking down data, then we have frequency distribution. So frequency distribution is one way of analyzing and presenting data. Once you have collected some data, a very useful thing to do is to plot a graph of how many times each score occurs. This is known as frequency distribution or histogram. When you can draw a vertical line through the center of the distribution and it have equal half, this is known as a normal distribution. So there are two ways in which a distribution can deviate from normal. Lack of symmetry is called skewy. A skewy distribution can either be positively skewy like this or negatively skewy when it's skewy to the right or skewy to the left. So distribution also vary in their ketosis. So ketosis, you are looking at the height of the distribution. Now we look at the summary statistics using frequency. So the topics that we are going to look at the nominal data, ordinary data, frequency of ordinary data, and frequency of scale data. Then we are going to use our data in the data set called stats intro in chapter 3. So summary statistics. Summary of individual variable provide an important first look at your data. Some of the tasks that these summaries help to complete are listed below. We determine typically values of the variable. What value occur most? What range of values are you likely to see? Check the assumption of the statistical procedure. Do you have enough observation for each variable? Is the observed distribution of value adequate? Checking the quality of the data. Are there missing or misentered values? Are there values that should be recorded? Things like that. Right. Using frequency to study nominal data. Remember I said nominal data is categorical, where they are grouped according to according to same characteristics. So when you are running SPSS, we are going to run the analysis. When you are running the analysis, we go to analyze, and from analyze we go to descriptive statistics. From descriptive statistics we go to frequency. When you run frequency, this table here will pop up. So this is a list of your variables that are captured, and here is where you import your list of variables to analyze them. So you select, in this case we have company rank, account of last sales, time, size of a company. So here we want to check, we select the charts here, we select the pie charts, and we press OK, because we want to see the pie charts of the distribution of department. So this is how our pie chart will look like. So we have development here in blue, we have computer science here in green, we have finance here in yellow, and others here in purple. So this is a pie chart, which is a good visualization to assess the relative frequency of each category. Then we'll look at the table. So the table is provide the same information as what was provided by the pie chart there. So the frequency table shows precisely frequencies for each category. The frequency column reports that 30 of your contact come from the computer science department. This is equivalent to 42.9% of the total of contacts, and 48.4% of the contacts whose department are unknown. Now looking at the bar chart, a bar chart is just ordered by descending frequency or ascending frequency. So quickly we are going to find the mode, and also to visualize, compare the relative frequencies. So to do this, we'll follow the same way. Then we'll select the charts, we'll go to bar, we'll continue, then we'll format in the frequency box. Then in formatting box we select descending counts, then we click continue, then OK. So when you click continue here, OK, we are going to have our frequency box. So this is the bar chart. So the bar chart here now, it clearly shows which department is having more frequency. In this case, they are more in computer science, followed by development, followed by finance, and others, which is the same information represented by pie chart and the table and the bar chart. So using frequency to study ordinary now. So in addition to the department of each contact, you have recorded their company ranks. Use frequency to study the distribution of company ranks to see if it meshes with your goals. So we are going to run the analysis just to summarize the company ranks of my contacts. From the menu, we choose analyze, we'll go to descriptive statistics, then we'll look at frequencies. So this is the frequency here. Then we want to choose the bar charts, and